We had an early snowfall this year, so early that I still had roses and rose buds waiting to open on all of the bushes in my backyard. But that's okay because my puppy absolutely loves snow, and just watching him go outside playing with his out-yard glove, because yes, he has an out-yard glove, brought like a smile to my face. He was just so excited. Hello everyone, Leah here, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you a sketchbook session while we have a conversation. But before we dive into it, I am using this color palette and quick sketch as my inspiration for my sketchbook session. I'm using some new to me art supplies, although technically they're not new to me. I've owned a Inktense pencil for quite some time and I love it so much. So I gifted myself several new colors, as well as some of the brand new colors from Derwent. And I just really want to explore how these two materials work together in a watercolor sketchbook. So what I did was, during my Healing with Art time, I allotted myself 30 minutes out of my day to just sit down, put on some music, and explore. And that's what I did, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. As for what I want to discuss with you, I'm not too sure how to even start the conversation, so I'm just going to dive right in. There are two artists here on YouTube that I absolutely love their channels because they share their life experiences along with their art. So one of them is Sadie Hester. She shares an artist's life, and it's all about what goes on in her day, what she's doing, any struggles that she's facing while she's going about her life and creating art, as well as as well as Louise Fletcher. Hers is an artist journal where she's quite honest with how she feels emotionally during the process of creating, how she struggles. And I just love the fact that they're just sharing real life stuff. And I sort of started this myself in my own way because I'm not the same kind of artist as them. I'm using art as a tool towards healing. And I want to share the journey of being someone with chronic health issues and how to be a positive space here on YouTube where you can learn how to use art as a tool towards healing and just share my experience in my life. And I started that, but then I stopped. And I want to start up again because I've noticed a trend just on social media with people that are discussing things, and even on just where everything when it comes to having a chronic health issue is the positive spin of it. They're just not being brutally honest. I feel there are a lot of accounts out there that just focus on the positive. And yes, we need that. We need to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that there are good days and that we should enjoy those good days. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But when somebody's happy every single day, when somebody only shares the good stuff, that to me does not scream authentic. Because as a person that has struggled my whole life, I know that there are more bad days than there are good most of the time, depending on what's going on in my life. I've had years where things have been great, but I've also had years where I've struggled, and I am going through that phase again where I'm getting tired of always being sick. I'm getting tired of always being in pain. I'm getting tired of having to be poked and prodded at and having bruises all over my arms from all the needles and all the tests. I'm tired of being told that I have to wait a year for my MRI or a year for my next specialist appointment, that this one specialist is like, nope, well, nothing I can do. I'm going to send you to somebody else. I have those days where I'm just tired, and that's where I'm at right now. My friends are quite understanding. Like, I feel like I barely see them, but they're understanding. And even my best friend, she too has a chronic health issues. So when we have bad days, we literally just text each other and we say, "This is a poop day." And then we try to cheer each other up, or we just listen to each other ranting about what's wrong, what feels bad. We're, a supportive group, and we're a supportive group of two, but we're a supportive group to each other. And I'm grateful for that. In fact, I texted her the other day going, I want to start this series back up again and actually stick to it and share the ugly stuff, because I want other people like me to know that they're not alone, that it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to have good days. It's okay to start your day bad and then have it end good. To know that they're not alone when they do have a day that starts out great and then ends up with them laying in bed because they just are in so much pain or they're so sick. Like, you're not alone. I'm there. She's there. We're all there. And I want this to just be a safe space to be honest about what I'm struggling with. And if you can relate, you feel safe and comfortable commenting in the comment section, do so. You don't have to. In fact, I'm perfectly okay if these videos have 0 comments. But when I was talking to her about this, I said I can't come up with any great names. Like, I told her about An Artist's Life and Artist Journal, and I was like, I like the sound of them. They work for those artists, but all my ideas just sound bad. She came up with one for me. What do you guys think? It's called The Creative Chronicles, except it's a play on words, so it'll be chronic ills. And I like that. What I've been struggling with, I want to just dive into it because I don't really know how to segue. Is that I've been wanting to share, and I haven't felt like I should, but I'm going to anyways. For years, I've been sick with my stomach, and it's a uterus problem. I get so sick when I have my period, so sick that I'm like sick to my stomach. I'm in so much pain I can't function. I have a lot of sometimes strange symptoms. I can look like I'm pregnant when I'm not. And I've been dealing with this for a long time. And I finally got in to see a doctor. And I didn't even get through my symptoms, and he just stopped me and went, "I know what you have. It's endometriosis." And I was like, how can it be endometriosis? I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I was diagnosed with that when I was 16. Like, I was told as a teenager that I wouldn't become a mom, and that's fine for me. I know that's not fine for everyone. But I knew at a young age that having polycystic ovarian syndrome meant I had things I need to keep an eye out for. I've experienced ovarian cyst bursts. Like, I had one burst a couple years ago, and it was so bad that my mom was like, "Should I dial 911?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to breathe through it." So when he said that to me, I was like, one, I was a little afraid you'd say that, but that's not possible. How's that even possible? Because I had seen just recently on TikTok, and no, I don't think TikTok is a source to diagnose all your health problems, but I saw a video from an actual doctor posting about endometriosis, and I was like, oh my goodness, that sounds just like me, but that's not possible. I just assumed something else was wrong. And he's like, well, you might not even have PCOS. And I was like, oh, you probably never even had it. It was always endometriosis, but now that I'm older, it's worse. Or now that the condition has spread and gone worse, I'm worse is more like it. But the point is, he just stopped me, said, this is what it is. Here's some drugs. I'm going to write you a prescription and come back in 3 months. And I was like, that's it? You don't want to run any tests? You don't want to do any like ultrasounds or like MRIs or anything? I'm like, you don't want to do any tests? He's like, no. And I was like, okay. And it turns out that I am allergic to the hormone treatment. So I can't take birth control because of 2 factors. My dairy allergy. So I can't have anything with lactose in it, even if it's a lactose sugar, because it's derived from dairy. So I couldn't take that drug. And then the alternative option that he prescribed me wasn't safe for someone who has migraines. And so my pharmacist is like, you can't take these either. And in the end, that doctor that I was like, okay, finally, somebody that's listening to me, somebody that knows what's going on with my body, said to me, okay, if you do not take these new drugs that I prescribed to you, there's no point in you coming back. And I was like, excuse me? What? And so I went to the pharmacy thinking, okay, finally, at least he found a medication that's safe for me. I went to the pharmacy, I dropped them off, I made sure the pharmacist was going to look into it to make sure it was safe. And guess what? The medication that he prescribed to me not only was unsafe because of my dairy allergy, but was also unsafe because of my migraines. So my pharmacist was like, I'll find you something. And he comes back and says, there are no options. So I literally had a doctor say, don't come back, because it feels to me like he just didn't want to put in the effort. Like, what's the point in just like diagnosing me with something that is a serious condition that actually, after doing my own research, requires surgery depending on just how severe it is, and he just dismissed me. So I've been struggling a lot with the fact that I experienced such a horrific event with a doctor that I am physically sick every month, to the point where I don't feel well leading up to my period. My period tries to murder me while I have it, and then it takes me a week to recover. So I basically only have a small window of time when I actually feel good. And it's just getting worse as time goes on. But luckily, in what I'm going through, my family doctor, when I told him this, was like, okay, well, I don't know a lot about endometriosis because we only covered it for like a day in medical school when I went to medical school, but I'm going to look into this. We're going to run our own tests, and I'm going to get you in to see an endometriosis expert. The thing is, though, where I live, we have like 1 or 2 of them, so it can take years to get in to see one, and they actually only want to see you if you're 100% confirmed with endometriosis. I'm not too sure how that works out, because I've done a lot of my own medical research, and that's something I've learned about endometriosis in this time frame, is that you have to do a lot of your own medical research. Is that it's just going to be a fun experience for me. And maybe you aren't relating to the endometriosis part of my story today, but you might be able to relate to the fact that you have symptoms or doctors or anything where you just feel like this is horrific and I need an answer, I need a solution. I don't know, like I want my YouTube channel to be a place of positivity, a safe space where you can learn to use art as a tool towards healing, where you can learn about different art supplies. But I am well aware that this video might not be a happy one. I'm also well aware that future videos might not be happy either. They might be even sadder than this one. They might be even more harder to hear than this one. And so I recognize that this might not be for everyone, because it's hard. It's hard to find a balance in life when you feel this sick. And I had a balance. I had a way of controlling things, and then my body got worse. So I'm currently in the process of trying to find a balance where I can find time to work on client projects, meet with clients, take care of my own physical health, take care of the people in my lives that matter to me, take care of my puppy, find time to create art, to share art. This is a part of the struggle I find for myself, because I have dreams and aspirations. Yeah, aspirations. I have dreams and goals for my life that I would like to achieve. And I'm learning to accept that it's taking longer than expected, and that's okay. Like, if you are familiar with my channel and you are aware, I designed a pencil case called the Ultimate Pencil Case, and it is perfect. There's a few things that I've been working with the manufacturer to adjust from the prototypes that I have, like some areas that are where the fabric I feel should be tighter, loops made smaller, things like that. I wanted to have this go live a lot quicker, and I kept having to work on it slowly, and then there was the postal strike, and then there was the second postal strike, and then there's tariffs and all this stuff. So I recognize that the outside world and my body make things not as easy to manage, but that's okay. I'm learning to balance it. Sort of. Not really. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I am, because I'm slowly working on videos. Like, I'm working on swatching out every single watercolor that I own currently. And I'm allowing myself to spend 10 minutes a day swatching, 30 minutes if I have the time. If I'm having a good day, I might swatch for a little bit and then grab out my art supplies and create for myself. So I'm learning to do that. It's just the rest of the stuff I'm struggling with, like going and getting groceries and being able to go to the pharmacy. And because of these things that I struggle with, I've learned to adapt. So I have an art studio in my basement, and back in the day when I felt better, when I had more better days, I would be able to spend hours down there and create. And now I've moved my art supplies to the dining room table. It's easier for me to be in this space, because there's nothing like being in the basement and having to run up 2 flights of stairs, to get to a bathroom. That is not fun. That is not fun when it just hits you out of nowhere. Because you can have a day where you're just feeling off. You're like, yeah, I have a slight cramp, but it'll pass. I'm days away from getting my period. I'll be okay. And you sit downstairs, you start working, and all of a sudden your body goes, guess what? You're about to get sick. And you're just like, what? No. And then you're running up a flight of stairs. And then that makes it so much worse on your body too. So I've learned through these instances that I've done to myself on multiple occasions to adapt. I actually wrote out bullet points of things I wanted to say in today's video, and I realized that I've kind of bounced around. I want to go back to the part where I said I wasn't sure if I was going to share this, and it was talking about my endometriosis. And that's because a lot of people that are sharing their endometriosis stories online are people that were diagnosed years ago or a year ago, and they're now sharing the journey post-diagnosis. But I'm in that point where I haven't been confirmed 100%. There's still this part of my brain that says, yes, you fit all the criteria. You definitely have this. But then there's a part of my brain that thinks, what if it's something completely different? What if it's worse? Like, what's worse than endometriosis? Like, what if, you know? And that's why I wasn't too sure if I wanted to share that part of myself globally here on YouTube. But it's a part of the journey of having chronic health issues, is that half the time we are sick, we have no answers, we do tests, they don't know what's wrong, everything comes back normal. Like, I did a PET scan. Do you guys know what a PET scan is? It's when they shove a needle in your arm, put you in an MRI-like machine, and pump you with chemicals and get your heart rate going. You know, like, I did one of those because I have blackouts when I stand up too fast. And I think it's connected to my period. I was sent to a cardiologist. The cardiologist did a bunch of tests, and the cardiologist is like, no, I'm going to send you to a neurologist. And I'm like, why a neurologist? So, like, you just end up having more questions than answers half the time. So that's why I want to just share this raw, real, happening, no answers, maybe answers journey that I'm on. I never used to like about talking about the things that made me a chronic illness badass. Like when I was a teenager and I got diagnosed with PCOS, it was one of those things where I told no one. Was I struggling with my periods? Yes. Did I tell any of my friends? No. Did I tell them that doctors were like, you're going to start growing hair in places you shouldn't grow hair. You're going to start going bald. You're going to have problems with your weight. Like they're describing all these things. You most likely won't be able to ever have children. Like I never told anybody those things. And now that I'm older, I've learned there's actually no harm in sharing, because it's when we share that you might be able to help someone else. Having a chronic health issue can feel very alienating, like you're in this all alone. But just know that you're not. Even if what you're struggling with isn't the same as me, that's okay. We all know what it's like to struggle physically, emotionally, mentally. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this. And I just want to say, if you're interested in using art as a tool towards healing, check out a few of my other videos and let me know if they're for you. Once again, thank you so much. And until next time, stay magical.